Hi, my name is Alicia Hillman, and this is my reflection report on my PIDP journey with Vancouver Career College. Looking at my past, I've been a certified dental assistant since 2006. I had such a great experience in the program thanks to my caring, kind, and personable instructors, and this always left me with the thought of wanting to pursue a career in teaching. Um, Presently, I'm currently wrapping up my PID at the same time as being halfway through achieving my bachelor's degree in adult education at UFE. It's been a lot of learning jam packed into the past 2 years, but I found that when you love the content, you look forward to doing your assignments and reading. 1 year ago, while doing all of my schooling, I was also able to achieve a position at UFE as a sessional instructor in the dental assisting program. I got to teach my first theory class last fall, and then this fall I'll be teaching three more. And I'm also heavily involved in the clinical hands on learning component. I'm learning and growing so much every time I gain a new experience or take a new course. For the future, I want to continue with my education in the adult education program. I want to look to accomplish a faculty position or program director in the future. I want to gain more experience so I can use my knowledge and experience to help develop more courses. And I'm dedicated to lifelong learning as information, students, and education is always changing. There are so many things that I've learned throughout the past 2 years in both the PID courses as well as my UFE adult education courses. Here are some examples of my takeaways focused on design, delivery, and evaluation. One example would be learning the Finks taxonomy in PIDP 3300. I've learned that applying it to my course design is very important. I've learned that using Finks taxonomy will help me align my course components in order to focus on the learning outcomes. It promotes active learning, which is an important part of course design and the Certified Dental Assistance program. CDA students benefit from learning to think critically in a clinical setting in order to set them up for a successful career. This here is an example of a DACOM chart that I made. This is something that I learned from the PIDP. This is a tool that I plan to continue to use to outline the competencies, tasks, and skills needed for course designing the learning outcomes of a course. This DACOM chart here I used as an assignment, and it is for planning a charting course at UFE. In PIDP 3351, I learned about the importance of good feedback. Dr. Harpiak has given me great guidance and explanation on how we take feedback and turn it into feed forward. The difference is that we encourage the students to continue to do what they're doing well, but also point out how they can make it even better. He emphasized that good feed forward is most effective when it's prompt and personable. Something that I learned from the program, I started to use Screencast-O-Matic to make small recordings of myself giving feed forward to my students. This was received so well by the students, and I'll continue to use it as often as I can. During PID, I learned the importance of assessment for, of, and as learning. Assessment for learning is formative. This is ongoing feedback throughout a course to help students recognize where some things aren't connecting as well as some of the strengths. An example for assessment for learning would be a quiz. Assessment of learning is summative, and it's used to gauge whether the student has achieved the learning objectives successfully or not. An example of that would be a final exam at the end of the course. And then we really focused on the importance of using assessment as learning as we teach. Assessment as learning involves students' self-reflection and assessment throughout a course. It encourages students to think critically and take on the ownership of their learning. An example of this would be a self-assessment report after an activity or an assignment. Throughout the PID, I was reminded a lot of the importance of encouraging students to practice critical thinking and to take on the ownership of their own education. By incorporating a lot of self-assessment throughout my courses, I hope to encourage students to take on that ownership. I plan on using self-assessment reports and participation on a participation and their assignments as I teach in the future. This is a small piece of a poster that I made as an assignment in my PID. It's now displayed in the dental clinic at UFE. The growth mindset was new to me, and I've learned that it's important to encourage our students to strive for a growth mindset as they learn and to take every experience as one to learn from. The dental clinic can be very stressful. Redoing competencies isn't uncommon. Students are often very hard on themselves, but I remind them that I also made mistakes as a student and I had to learn and retry several things. I encourage them that this is a safe learning space and to continue to take these opportunities to practice. Here are some examples of my takeaways focusing on instructional strategies and the use of media. Throughout the PID, I was able to learn a lot of instructional strategies. A lot of my high school classes were lectures. You go, you get your homework, and you do your exams. I always struggled to maintain attention during a boring lecture, but I'm excited to have the tools and knowledge to create classes full of discussion. I think collaboration is very important between students. Every student can bring a different perspective and experience into the classroom, and we can learn so much from each other. Another strategy I've learned is the flipped classroom, where students often do a lot of the research and reading ahead of time and come to the class ready to do activities based on the learning. This is effective because you use what you've learned and you apply it. You can better understand why you need to know this information and how to apply it. Some of the fun activities you can do in a class that I plan on using is problem-based learning or role play. In a CDA program, the students can act out different scenarios that they may encounter with their patients or possibly different medical emergencies that they would need to act upon. I couldn't have come this far without accessibility created by online learning. I'll forever be grateful for all the media and the tools out there that have made this a great experience. I've been able to use a load of media in order to enhance both my learning and my teaching. I've been able to see how you can use Twitter, podcasts, blogs, vlogs, for online learning and communication. I've made many fun games for class activities such as Kahoots, Quizlets, and Bamboozles. I've used YouTube and WeView for sharing videos and information. This is just a small dip in a really large pool of resources available, and I'm excited to learn even more. In the PID 3240, Media Enhanced Learning, I wrote a report on social media in the classroom. To summarize it really quickly, I think there are many benefits to the collaborative communication tools and interactivity that media provides. We can use it to make lessons fun, interactive, and collaborative. We can use it to keep things motivated for students, but we also need to be aware that it can be overwhelming for students who don't have experience with it. It needs to be monitored and used carefully to avoid security breaches, bullying, or for things to become confusing. I concluded that great teachers will implement social media platforms into their teaching, but knowing its limitations and how to use it properly is important as well. Here are some of my examples or takeaways of focusing on ethics and professionalism. I've brought a lot of experience on ethics and professionalism with me to this learning journey, having had 17 years of experience as a CDA. I've learned how to apply ethics world into the teaching world by walking through case scenarios in PID 3100. We were put into small groups and given scenarios that involved cheating, and we were supposed to share how we would handle it. I learned a lot through that and what others would do, and have enjoyed collaborating with everyone. Professionalism is incredibly important as a teacher. One of my assignments was to reflect on experiences I've had as a student and what made my favorite class or teacher stand out. The traits that I appreciated are exactly what I want to model to my students. Some of these include being punctual, classes running and ending on time. I'll be prepared and organized for every class. I'll be effective in my communication and respond to students as quickly as possible. I'll be respectful of every student and work hard to create a safe learning space by setting clear expectations of everyone. I will be accepting of all students, no matter where they're from or how they present themselves. Here are some of my examples of the takeaways focused on adult education theory. I've learned that adult education theory isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. As adults, we have diverse backgrounds, goals, and learning preferences. I want to be effective by drawing from the principles I've learned to design learning experiences that are relevant, engaging, and respectful of the unique characteristics of my students. Some of the principles that I've learned through the PID include self-directed learning. I plan on doing this by providing opportunities for reflection and self-directed problem solving. I'll use the prior knowledge and experience by encouraging students to collaborate and connect. I'll encourage students to have a readiness to learn by explaining the need to know for their theory. I feel as though I've had so many accomplishments in this past couple of years. I started this journey with no training on education. I had stage fright and a lot of doubt in myself. I have now had many experiences of designing courses, teaching classes, giving feedback, receiving feedback. I think I'll always have a few butterflies before teaching, but I've learned some great strategies to help calm them. And just learning that this is normal gives me comfort knowing I'm not alone. I've maintained excellent grades I'm very proud of throughout all of my classes. That's definitely been a big accomplishment for me. Something that caught my attention is how important it is to be open to feedback and to be a lifelong learner. I can teach for 25 years and I'll still need to know uh, the different updates on technology and information and be open to all feedback. A memorable experience for me was teaching a Zoom class as part of one of my assignments. I didn't spend enough time preparing before the class. I felt like I fumbled throughout the entire thing. I felt embarrassed and uncomfortable. It was a good experience, though, to see how important it is to come prepared. One of the highest points for the program for me was the feedback received from the instructors. I love learning and growing from my assignments. The collaboration between my peers and meeting new people that was teaching many different subjects was also a high point of the program for me. I now know a lot about boating and cooking. One of the challenges or frustrations was just finding the right balance. There are a lot of responsibilities fighting for my attention, and I've had to find the right balance to get my work done and stay motivated. I'll remember feeling this way because it will make me feel better as an educator. Oh, sorry, it will make me a better educator by knowing that my students have lives outside of this program. It's important to understand and be flexible. Another frustration for me was working with APA and relearning that whole system as well. I was influenced by my wonderful instructors who practiced exactly what they preached. They set a perfect example of what it means to create a safe learning environment, to be prompt on and give effective feedback. I was also influenced by my peers as they shared their experiences and showed me a lot of new media to use as I teach. So, I've spoken a lot already about my experiences throughout the PID and how I want to apply them into my teaching. I just wanted to share a little bit of my teaching philosophy, which is something that I wrote for a class in the PID. I give full credit to my last 2 years of classes for what is written in my philosophy. I believe my job as an educator is to help every student succeed to their fullest potential. During my years as a student, I've gone through some really hard times dealing with health issues and losing one of my parents. The community of a connected class and a teacher who cares is what helped bring me through some of these hard times. We are more than just educators. We have the privilege of being a part of these students' lives, and I do not plan on taking that for granted. My 17 years of experience in dentistry has helped me develop my skills for caring and empathizing for patients. I see how connecting personally with people and being supportive and understanding in times of fear and frustration will help them feel encouraged and succeed. I'll bring this into my classroom by getting to know my students personally. I'll develop relationships with them by being available and willing to support them and share pieces of my life with them. I will be approachable and prompt to help students who seek out extra guidance. As a mother of three boys, I see that I need to treat everyone as an equal. Each one of my children is so different, and their diversity is something to be encouraged and celebrated because we're all different. I don't care for one of my children more than the other. Even though they're very different, I hold the same virtue in the classroom. We need to appreciate everyone's differences and learn from each other by sharing our own experiences and creating a learning environment that thrives on social constructivism. I will bring passion, excitement, hands on learning into the classroom every day. I want my students to be excited about what they're learning, guiding them to be proud and confident in their abilities so they can impact the dental community in a positive way. I'll bring humor and fun into my classroom by sharing jokes and having fun experiences throughout of all my fun experiences throughout my career. As a student, I have felt that sometimes it's harder to compete with classmates that tend to grab the stage whenever possible, yet I love to share. I want to give opportunity in my classroom for all students to share their thoughts, encourage their curiosity, and proposing questions. I will make it a safe learning environment, and my goal is that every student in my class feels valued, safe, and respected. I really appreciate you listening to it. I'm sorry it went a little long. There's just so much that I learned and so much I want to apply. Have a great day.